everybody. Thank you for joining me today. So we're going to be doing our fourth video, I believe, doing the ink blending. And so I have my colors picked out, and I figured for this one I'm going to use the regular distress tools and the makeup brushes. So I'm just putting my sponges on, and I keep mine underneath the distress inks. And I'm going to be doing the same thing we've been doing this entire time, which is starting with my lightest color and then blending my way up. And after I had finished this video, it came to mind, I think I was watching Christina Werner, and she mentioned the Bristol paper. Okay. For those of you who have issues with blending, if you can't get the blend that you want on like this Nina paper or whatever white cardstock you're using, you'll want to try and get some of the Bristol Smooth paper. Bristol Smooth is actually, I would agree, probably one of the best for the blending with the distress inks. It's really easy, and it blends just so much easier. And as you're getting used to doing this technique with the blending, you may find that paper more helpful. I'm using Nina Solar, I believe it's the not the index, because I know the index is a lighter quality, even though it says 110. I have the Crescent, I think it's the Crescent color, Solar White, and it's the 110 pound. And so it blends, and it's, you just have to keep working because of how, I guess you could say, how the ink is going into the actual fibers of the paper. Whereas I think with the Bristol Smooth, it kind of sits on top a little bit more, so it's easier to blend before it actually dries completely. And I'm just putting down the color, and then to kind of help blend it in, I'll use the color right before it. So for that dark purple at the top, I took the more pinkish purple, my middle color, and I used it going into that dark purple a little bit. And that's how you get the blend when you're using paper that maybe not be the easiest. You have to go into the previous color a little bit, so that way it helps the blending process. So for these greens, I'm using the makeup brushes, and I would say on the Nina paper, the brushes are probably the best out of all of the ones that I've used, the Clarity brushes or the regular distress inks. I think for using it with the Nina, the makeup brushes are probably the best way to get a really nice blend. The green, blue, and I think even the kind of reddish color that I picked out, they all blend better because they're very similar or close to each other in color tones. And the purples, there was a little bit of standout because even though on the lids and the little swatches I have on them, they looked very similar in color, that middle one was definitely more on the pinker side than it was purple. So you just have to play. You can see here, rub some on, rub that middle color in, and then rub it again. And you just keep adding your layers until it gets to the consistency that you're wanting really for your project. And for me, that was it right there. We're going to set that aside. And then I'm going to clean my brushes in between. I didn't want you guys to have to sit there and watch me do all that cleaning, I don't think. Yeah. So I just skipped ahead, and we're going to go ahead and use the blue colors with the regular distress tool. And I actually have redone my, I showed briefly my ink pad storage. And it's one of the ones I made that actually like could sit on top of your desktop. and I made quite a few of those. I'll try and remember, I have a link up here in the iCards for you guys for my ink pad storage. And then I don't know if it's going to be before or after this video is actually uploaded. If it's before, I will post my new version in the more or at the very end as well, because it's more for inside your drawer for the storage. So if you have an Alex drawer or something like that, it just gives you an idea of how to get them in the drawer without having to buy a really expensive ink holder to put it in there. And this is really working out best for me, so I'll be glad to be sharing that with you guys. So now we're on to the blue, and believe it or not, I did write down all my colors and then I lost it. Let's see, I think this might be it. Yes, so we're doing Stormy Skies, Faded Jeans, and Chip Sapphire. And I really like that Chip Sapphire. I don't use it a whole lot, but there's something about it. And mixing it in with that Stormy Sky, and even the Faded Jeans, it really blended well together. I definitely like that color combo. Now, the green one that we did before this one was Shabby Shutters, Peeled Paint, and Bundled Sage. And then we started with the Wilted Violet, Seedless Preserves, and Milled Lavender. All fun colors. And see that bottom color, I was like, you know what? I'm just not liking that blend right there. Like, why can't I get a better or softer blend? And so I did by putting down more ink and working both that middle shade and that bottom one, which is the Stormy Sky, I believe. And you get a nice blend, you know, where it's nice and soft. I mean, if you like the harsh line, then go for the harsh line. That's okay too. It's just another way of looking at it. But I really wanted it to kind of like just fade lightly. I didn't need it to be so harsh. So for the final color combo, I'm just trying to move these around. I'm going to use Abandoned Coral, Festive Berries, and Candied Apple. And this one, I'm going to say, was probably to me, while I was making it, I was like, you really can't tell much difference between these shades of reds. They're definitely in that color family, so it's very easy for it to, I think, blend in with each other. And then, of course, I said it once already, but the makeup brushes just really do a really good job at blending, I think, on this Nina Solar Crest. That's what it is. Solar Crest? Yeah. The 110 pound. You just keep rubbing. Of course, I sped up the video. Otherwise, we would be here all day. And I was not trying to keep you guys here longer than necessary. So now we're going to go from the top. And there you go. And then we'll grab the middle color again. I'm using that little scrap of paper right there so that way I don't get ink all over my hands. Because obviously, as you add more ink, it's very easy for you to cross-contaminate by not protecting your fingers, basically. I had a little bit of smudge because of my fingers having other colors on it. And I just really love how that turned out. And it doesn't take long to do, you guys. It really doesn't. This is probably one of the easier techniques, especially for card making, when you want to do different techniques, but you're just not wanting to be overwhelmed or have to do a whole lot of practicing and stuff like that. With the blending, this is super easy, and you can do all kinds of things. Like for me, I'm leaving it alone, but I know Christina Warner, Amy R. Savvy. A lot of the people that I follow on YouTube, they love doing the water technique with it, where you splatter water down and pull up some of the ink so it gives it a more distressed look. And you can do that. But I wanted it to be full-fledged color at its most, I guess, true coloring, and then do heat embossing on top. So I'm using my EK Success powder tool, and I'm going over the entire card front because I wanted to use this Brutus Monroe stamp. I've used it before in videos, and there's just something about it. I love the way it looks, and I think that when you heat emboss with it, it looks very elegant. So once I have it lined up, I'm grabbing the Versamark ink pad, and we're just going to ink that up. And it's really hard to see because obviously it's clear ink, but if you tilt your stamp up a little bit, you can kind of see on an angle where it's sticky. And then that way you have it all covered. And then I laid it down. Thankfully, I only had to do it once. I pressed down really hard, and then I'm just covering this with the platinum embossing powder. And at first, right there in the middle, I was like, oh, did I just put too much embossing powder and it's just sticking to everything? But it doesn't. And once I like tap it a little bit, everything basically becomes clear. I always give it a little bit of a huff to make sure that any area, where there's some embossing powder where it shouldn't be, it's cleared off. And then before I actually heat emboss, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the embossing powder that gets everywhere, which is so amazing because with the way that it spreads all over the place, you would think like it'd be so quick to go through all the embossing powders, but it's still tons left. And I always have to clean up my desk when I got embossing powders out and I'm trying to cover something. It always amazes me. But you can see that was probably one of the best camera views I've had of the embossing powder heating up, and it was perfect. And you can see how it changed from that dullness to the bright shiny. It's so much fun. I'm telling you, it's one of the better techniques. So now that we're done with the heat embossing, we're going to go ahead and build up our card. And I've already cut a matte piece, which is going to be at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. We're using our ATG tape. AGT. Like, am I thinking like HGTV? The tape runner and the art glitter glue to attach these. And it's important to get as close to the edge as you can with your tape, and then of course use the glue. That just gives us time to kind of wiggle it around if we need to, or pull it up to get it positioned correctly. And you never have to worry about someone saying, oh, your card fell apart, or getting thrown into the trash earlier than you would like because it's falling apart. Oh, and I was just showing you guys my trash can again. I'm really excited to have it there because I always have scraps of paper or backing from the foam tape all over the place. So here are our 4 cards for the hello, and then the 4 sympathy, and then 4 of the happy birthday, and then 4 of the thank yous. And the best part is you can grab one from each of the card sets, and basically it's like you're creating little gift sets. So someone can have a 4-card gift set. You got a happy birthday, thank you with sympathy, and here's a little hello. So just a little note card. So all the cards, the first 3 that we did, we stamped something on the inside, and on this last one, since it's like just a little note card or just to say hello, I didn't stamp anything inside because I figure whoever is sending it out may want to write their own message. So I'm trying to find, here a little piece of lace or something so I could show you guys what my idea as far as like packaging it up would look like. So I took 4 cards or 4 envelopes, and I'm putting them together with 4 of the cards, and I found a piece of lace. I'm gonna grab that real quick. Let me grab that, and I'm just gonna tie a little knot here so you can group it like that, or actually tie it up kind of like a gift. I have some baker's twine, and I wanted to show you could wrap it around that a couple of times and tie a bow. However works for you, that's fine. I was also thinking that I would possibly stamp on my envelopes to match, with the cards themselves. That would definitely be a way to step it up even more so. But I think if I'm showing you here with cream cards, I think I would use my white envelopes, only because all 4 of these have a white base in some way or form. Like the first sets were on black card bases, and the last 2 we've done have been on white card bases, and I just think that it will tie in better. So if you guys like this series, liked how these look, and you would like to see the actual ideas for the stamps or for the envelopes, just leave a comment down below and I'll do a quick video. It doesn't take that long, but I just want to make sure that that's definitely something you guys would be interested in. So thank you so much for joining me today. All the links to scrapbookingwithme.com will be down below in the more section, to their Facebook pages and all their social media. If you go on the website and actually purchase anything that's new or not marked down, just use coupon code TT15 to get an extra 15% off. I thank you guys so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you with our next video.